Today I will tell you a story that will shock you. This is the story of an American woman who disrespected President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. What happened next will surprise you and teach you a lesson you will never forget. Jessica Miller, a famous reporter from America, lands in Burkina Faso with her camera and notebook. She's ready for her big interview with the president. She steps out of the airport and the heat hits her face. People are everywhere, selling food, shouting, laughing. Jessica does not stop to look. She jumps into a car and heads straight to her hotel. She's thinking only about her questions and her story. Jessica checks into her hotel, a tall building with a view of the city. She looks out the window and sees the busy streets below. She sees women carrying baskets on their heads, men riding old motorcycles, and children running after a soccer ball. She takes a quick shower, changes her clothes, and sits down to write her questions for the president. She wants to ask about politics, about the country's problems, about what makes President Traoré different from other leaders. She does not think about the culture or the people. She only wants a good story. The next morning, Jessica wakes up early. She puts on her best suit and rushes to the palace. The guards at the gate bow their heads, but Jessica walks right past them. She does not bow. She does not smile. She just wants to get inside. The guards look at each other, surprised. Jessica does not notice. She is already inside, walking fast, her heels clicking on the floor. A palace worker leads Jessica down a long hallway. The walls are covered with colorful paintings and old photographs. Jessica glances at them but does not stop. She is thinking about her first question. She is thinking about how she will write her story. The worker opens a big wooden door, and Jessica steps into a large room. The air is cool. The floor is shiny. There are big windows with sunlight streaming in. Jessica sees President Ibrahim Traoré waiting for her. He stands tall, wearing simple clothes. Elders and advisors sit around him. Some are old with gray hair and wise eyes. Others are young, watching Jessica closely. Jessica walks straight up to the president and sticks out her hand. In America, this is normal. But here, people bow. The room goes silent. Jessica does not care. She just wants to start the interview. President Traoré smiles and shakes her hand. He says, "Welcome to Burkina Faso, Jessica." Jessica nods and sits down. She opens her notebook and starts asking questions. She does not wait for long answers. She interrupts. She pushes for more. She laughs at some of the president's answers. The elders in the room look shocked. They whisper to each other. Jessica does not notice. She is focused on her story. Jessica asks, "Mr. President, don't you think it's time to forget these old traditions and be more modern like America?" The room freezes. The elders stare at her. The president's advisors look worried. But President Traoré just smiles. He says, "Jessica, our traditions are our roots. Without them we cannot grow." Jessica rolls her eyes. She thinks the president is just being stubborn. Jessica keeps asking questions. She asks about the country's economy, about the schools, about the roads. President Traoré answers every question with patience. He talks about building new schools, about helping farmers, about bringing clean water to villages. Jessica writes down his answers quickly. She does not ask about the paintings on the wall or the elders in the room. She does not ask about the music she heard outside or the food she smelled in the air. After the interview, President Traoré stands up and says, "Come with me." Jessica follows him outside. They walk quickly through the palace gardens. The sun is setting. The sky is orange and red. The president points to a big baobab tree. He says, "This tree is strong because its roots are deep. Our traditions are like these roots." Jessica listens, but she still does not understand. Suddenly, a group of children run up to the president. They bow and greet him. The president kneels down and talks to them. The children laugh and play. Jessica watches. She sees the respect in their eyes. She sees the happiness on their faces. For the first time, she feels something change inside her. President Traoré stands up and says, "Jessica, do you want to see the real Burkina Faso?" Jessica nods. She is curious. The president calls for a car. They drive through the city. Jessica sees busy markets, people selling fruits and vegetables, women weaving baskets, men fixing bicycles. She sees children walking to school in uniforms. She sees old men playing a game with stones under a tree. The president explains, "This is our life. We work hard. We help each other. We respect our elders. They stop at a small village outside the city. People gather around the president. They bow and greet him. The president introduces Jessica. The villagers smile and shake her hand. Some children touch her hair and laugh. Jessica smiles back. She feels welcome, but also a little out of place. A woman invites Jessica into her home. The house is small with mud walls and a tin roof. There are mats on the floor and a pot cooking over a fire. The woman offers Jessica a bowl of rice and sauce. Jessica tastes it. It is spicy but delicious. The woman smiles and says, "You are our guest. You are welcome here." Jessica feels something warm in her heart. After the meal, the villagers gather outside. They sing and dance. The music is loud and joyful. Jessica claps her hands and laughs. She tries to dance with the children. She is not very good, but everyone cheers for her. The president watches and smiles. He says, "Now you see the spirit of our people." That night, Jessica is invited to a big feast at the palace. People are singing, dancing, and laughing. The food smells amazing. Jessica sits at the table. An elder stands up and says, "We welcome our guests, but we also ask for respect." Jessica feels a little embarrassed. She remembers how she acted earlier. During the meal, people tell stories. They talk about hard times and good times. They talk about how their traditions help them stay strong. Jessica listens. She starts to understand. These traditions are not just old rules. They are the heart of the people. After dinner, the president tells a story. He says, "When I was a boy, my grandmother taught me to listen before I speak. She said, if you want to understand someone, you must first respect them." Jessica thinks about her own grandmother. She remembers how her grandmother always told her to be kind. At the end of the night, Jessica stands up. She bows deeply to the president and the elders. She says, "I am sorry. I did not understand. Thank you for teaching me." The people clap. The president smiles. The next day, Jessica visits a school with the president. The children stand up when the president enters the room. They sing a song to welcome him. Jessica asks the teacher, "Why do the children stand up?" The teacher says, "It is a sign of respect. We teach our children to honor their elders and leaders." Jessica nods. She writes this in her notebook. Jessica spends more days in Burkina Faso. She visits a hospital, a farm, and a market. She talks to doctors, farmers, and shopkeepers. She learns about their lives, their dreams, and their struggles. She sees how everyone works together. She sees how people help each other. She sees how respect is everywhere. One afternoon, Jessica sits with a group of women under a tree. They are making colorful cloths. One woman gives Jessica a piece of cloth. She says, "This is for you. It is a gift." Jessica thanks her. She asks, "Why do you make these cloths?" The woman says, "We make them for our families, for our celebrations, for our traditions." Jessica looks at the cloth. She sees the bright colors and the careful work. She understands that every cloth has a story. Jessica also visits a mosque with the president. She takes off her shoes and covers her head, just like everyone else. She listens to the prayers. She feels the peace in the room. After the prayers, an old man tells her, "Respect is not just for people. It is for God, for nature, for everything around us." Jessica writes this in her notebook. Jessica's last day in Burkina Faso comes quickly. She feels sad to leave. She has made new friends. She has learned so much. She goes to the palace to say goodbye to President Traoré. The president says, "Jessica, you came here for a story, but you found something more important. You found respect." Jessica smiles. She says, "Thank you, Mr. President. I will never forget what I learned here." Jessica goes back to America and writes her story. She writes about the kindness of the people, the wisdom of President Traoré, and the power of respect. Her story spreads fast. People everywhere read it. Some say it changes the way they think about Africa. Others say it makes them think about their own lives. But the story is not over. Months later, Jessica is invited back to Burkina Faso. This time, she is a guest of honor. Thousands of people cheer for her. President Traoré welcomes her as a friend. Jessica feels proud. She knows she has learned something important. She knows respect is the key to understanding. From that day, Jessica travels to many countries. She tells her story everywhere. She teaches people about respect. She always remembers the lesson from Burkina Faso. Respect is the bridge that connects us all. So if you ever visit a new place, remember this story. Remember Jessica, the American woman who disrespected a president, and the lesson she learned. Always show respect, even if you do not understand everything. Sometimes the smallest act of respect can change your life forever. And that is what happened when an American woman disrespected President Ibrahim Traoré. What happened next truly shocked her, and it can change you too. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more amazing stories from Africa and around the world, please subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us share more lessons, more adventures, and more surprises with you. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment about what you learned today. Share this story with your friends and family, because respect and understanding can change the world. See you in the next story.